we move to our first news video of the day, and it is, well, an update on THQ's next release. I don't know why it was so hard for me to remember the word, but I guess sometimes I just can't seem to remember words. As THQ Nordique's global senior community manager addressed AEW Fight Forever video game is nearing completion. This is from PW Mania. Zaides said they had an announcement that the game is almost done, and it's like, then somebody asked me, I was like, no, it's not. And then everybody's like, oh my god, these guys lied. I'm like, no, they didn't. They just look at things differently because the publisher looks at things differently. You know what I mean? For a publisher, a game is not really finished until it's released, basically. And a lot of people are having a massive problem understanding that, which is kind of sad, because it kind of creates this thing that everybody now suddenly believes that, oh my god, these guys lied. It's like, no, they didn't. So hopefully it'll get sorted out. The game is in a good state, and as soon as we do launch it, I think people will be very happy. Then everybody will just forget about the other stuff, and everybody will be happy and enjoy it. And that's what I've been trying to explain to people. Development can already be sorted and stuff, but it doesn't mean that the game is done. And even development, there's still QA, there's still all these different things that they have to do, and I just don't see how people misunderstand it, because that might be because I'm a part of the industry, and so for me, it's common when people check in with me, hey, is this ready? I'm like, oh no, it's in early publishing stages, and then people are like, oh okay, but then again, I'm a part of the industry. He would proceed to write the following on Twitter also. When a fan asked about the game's status, when asked about the game's status, he wrote, if you want an unfinished game, we could release it now. The game is doing really well and it's getting there, but it's not 100% yet. So yeah, just another rumor on Twitter, I fear. So basically, according to THQ Nordique, it is that the game is getting there, but it's not 100% yet. It could be released or it will be released sooner rather than later, but the fact is it's not to the point where it's going to get released anytime soon. But now we shift over to a quick rumor that is one fact of somebody that we're excited to see back, and that is R-Truth, who suffered, I believe it was a torn quad last year, after missing a dive in a match with Grayson Waller last year. And he's been on the shelf since, but Truth took to Twitter and made it clear that he will be back soon enough when a fan asked when he would be returning. Speaking of somebody who said that they could always return, the door's always open, Eva Marie took to Twitter saying that the door is always open for her to make a WWE return, And honestly, I don't think anybody would want to see her make a WWE return because the amount of backlash that was there the last time she was going to make a return, because of the timing of the return and the fact that it was during the pandemic, and the fact that they would be releasing the amount of people that they released, and then looking to bring a person like Eva Marie back instead of bringing back one of the people they released. It's not exactly something that, how do you put it? It's not exactly something that holds a lot of positivity within the ranks of WWE. Tommy Dreamer also told PW Mania, recently spoke with PW Mania about the backstage work that he's done. This is from Fightful Select. The previous report was from PW Mania. The one about the update on the AEW video game was from PW Mania. This is from Fightful Select. And basically, it's Tommy Dreamer saying that he has no interest in a backstage role in Impact Wrestling. Let's see if I can get the direct quote. Basically, he explains to a degree that he worked, he lived ECW 24/7. He lived WWE 24/7 because I believe it was maybe 2004, 2005, Tommy was in the office. That Tommy was in the office for a time in WWE before, I believe it was before the return of ECW. And he also worked the office at ECW. So it's something that he has done before, but he also points out that Scott D'Amore doesn't have, isn't married, he doesn't have kids. So that's the difference. Tommy is married, does have kids. That's the main difference. But the fact of the matter is, Tommy basically said that he doesn't want that type of position in Impact Wrestling. But he would go on to say that he would love to be inducted into the Hall of Fame next year for WWE because WWE will be in Philadelphia. And honestly, if there's any crop of guys that should be getting honored for the Hall of Fame next year, it is the guys that have ties to ECW, like Paul Heyman, like Tommy Dreamer. There are certain people that deserve that honor next year, and Tommy and Paul are two of the people that deserve that honor next year. If I'm being honest. And then we move over to the fact that basically, oh, that's what I was going to talk about. I remember now. I saw this on Twitter last night, and I knew immediately it was going to be something that we would talk about today, as on June 9th at the Ryogoku Sumo Hall, it is all together again, as something that you would never see in America is set to take place. The three largest Japanese wrestling promotions, New Japan Pro Wrestling, All Japan Pro Wrestling, or I should say the three largest men's Japanese promotions, New Japan Pro Wrestling, All Japan Pro Wrestling, and Pro Wrestling Noah, are set to do a joint event called All Together Again. Naoki Shugabayashi released a press release saying in 2020, this, by the way, this is also from our favorite news source, that being Fightful Select. That being Fightful Select, in 2020, our daily lives were upended by the COVID pandemic. In the wrestling business also, went from canceled events to no crowds to steadily reducing restrictions. Now, after careful, steady progress, now one can say we are close as can be to our previous everyday lives. With the feeling of renewal and a new beginning, as well as desire to bring energy to the world through the power of pro wrestling, New Japan Pro Wrestling, All Japan Pro Wrestling, and Pro Wrestling Nowhere will join for the first all-together event since February 2012. With the words of New Japan's legendary promoter, or legendary founder, Antonio Inoki, the subtitle of the event will be, if you have energy, you could do anything. All Together Again will take place Friday, June 9th at the Ryogoku Sumo Hall. Tickets will go on sale April 23rd. Like I said, this is something that you would never see in America, because the American promotions would never be able to put their egos aside and get together. Yes, it is a little different because New Japan and Pro Wrestling Noah are owned by the same company, and also a portion of the proceeds will be donated to a select charity that is yet to be announced. But as more details will be announced, we will let you guys know. But it is a spectacular show of solidarity from the Japanese wrestling promotions that they would be willing to put their differences aside and go about their business in this sort of way. Showing a sign of solidarity and getting back together, because, to be fair, to my knowledge, Japan just opened back up for fans, as far as allowing fans at the wrestling events, not too long ago, maybe earlier this year. The fact of the matter is, Japan took its time getting back to normal, and this is their show of solidarity and their push to getting back to normalcy. So props to them for going this route, and with bringing energy to the world through the power of pro wrestling. There's no better way to say it than using Sugabayashi's words, like he said in the press release initially released on New Japan's website. But props to them, and I'm looking forward to hearing all about the event to take place on June 9th. With that being said, though, we are done with this news video, and I will see you in the next